Good morning, everyone. We are beginning an accordion style journal tutorial today, and we're going to recreate as best we can this accordion style journal. So I went ahead and I did a couple things. I cut my cardstock, and this cardstock, this is a full piece, I'm fairly certain. I don't know that I've cut anything off of this. Let's just double check and see. So it's an 8.5 by 8.5. So I went ahead and I used two-tone pinks, and I've got 7 of these cuts, and I've got 7 because I'm going to have 7 pages of my accordion. For those of you that have never made one of these, odd numbers are best so that you've got the back. And I've designated every other page, a light colored with no cardstock on it. So it is going to look like that. This has no, that gives you journal space. It gives you an opportunity to add photos and that sort of thing. So that's where I wanted to go with this. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold your cardstock in half, and then we are going to glue the bottom and up the side, and that's going to give you a pocket. So even though in this book there's a divot out of every one of the light pinks where you can see there's a pocket, every one of these is a pocket. I've not closed it. So you can always go back and use that if you have more ephemera than you thought you had. So the next step after folding this is going to be to close the pieces up. And I knew I was going to leave. I think I've closed everything but the light pink. So let's just go through and double check, because we're going to have to do that. And in past journals, I have cut divots out of all of them. I have cut divots on one side. We are going to cut the divot through the whole thing on these, but let's go ahead really quickly and let's close these up. I know by the comments that some of you are going to be following along and creating your own journal with me, so I'm excited for that. I tend to keep the fold on the left. Why? I don't know. It just kind of keeps me, I know that if I keep my fold on the left and I have a divot and the divot doesn't go all the way through and it's only on one side, that I know where that is, so I don't ever get my pages, have my pages go upside down where my pocket opening is at the bottom instead of at the top. So that is the reason for that. And remember, your sides are going to be glued with fabric. If you don't want to use fabric, you can use cardstock. You can use washi tape. You can use anything you want. So keeping my folds on the left, we're going to go ahead now and cut the divots. Punch them out, and I've got this 2.5 inch punch. And like I had mentioned, I'm going to go all the way through. And I don't measure. That's not a big deal to me. I can pretty much eyeball it, and I think it does pretty well. My eye. Sometimes it's a little bit off, but that's okay. So now we are ready to assemble. You've got your 7 pages. They're all glued together, and we are going to be following the one that I have in my shop. So I am going to look for the page with the Santa. And I know that is my first page, which is right here. And I know what comes after that is going to be one of these. So we're going to lay this out like this, because we're going to take strips of fabric, and there is I don't really measure, I eyeball my fabric, because what these are going to be used as are hinges. So that's what we are going to do. So I am going to set my fabric wrong side down. That kind of is a wonky piece. And I rip it because I want all of this fraying. I really like that. You may not, and that's okay too. So you do whatever you think looks right. Now we're going to fabric on both sides. We're going to have our hinge on both sides. So this is the way that I like to begin. You might want to begin on the top. And I am going to use Fabrifix, because we are gluing to fabric. So what I'm going to do is, I know this is my top, I'm going to flip it over. We are going to glue that side. So I'm just going to take a bead of glue and run it down here. And I'm going to place it not quite in the center, because we're going to have a little bit of a gap. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then we are going to do the same thing with our second piece, making sure that our pocket is at the top. And I'm gonna leave a little bit of a gap, probably between 1/4 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch, but you have to remember that as you fill your book up with ephemera, you need that space with that hinge. Then we're going to flip this over, and we're just going to make sure that we're happy with what's going on this side. And then we are going to glue another strip down on top of this like that. So we're going to take our glue and we're just going to come down. This time you can do both sides. Just going to get your glue on here and finish your hinge off. Just like that. And then usually what I like to do is take a bone folder and just kind of go down the center on both sides, just to make sure that nothing shifted, that my two pages of cardstock are not touching, and that I still have my hinge. It's necessary. You have to have that hinge because you want to be able to fold this. See how nicely that folds? You want that. Then you can either trim now. Sometimes I trim now, sometimes I wait and I trim the whole thing. Let's go ahead and just trim this off. It doesn't have to be perfect, you know that. You might want to save these if you do paper clips, if you do, you know, any little snippets, things like that. So looking at this, what comes next? Well, in order to tell, I have to look and see what I've done. So we've got a page now that's got Santas on the front, and the back looks like it has the snowmen. So Santas and snowmen. So this comes next, this page here. So we pull out another strip of fabric and we're going to repeat the same process that we just did. And let me close up this glue because we all know what happens if I don't. So we're going to do the same thing. Lay out our strip, turn our page over, and get our hinge on. And we're going to do this for all 7. So that we have all 7 attached, all 7 pages. Now you can do 5. You can start out, do 3. You know, if you're not sure if this seems like it's too much, then go ahead and by all means try it with 3. I did a variation of this, I think it was last week, and I'm going to do a smaller one. I've done a couple variations of this. I've done a journal on the top, and I've done a hard cover. And so there are way more ways of doing this than just what I am showing you. So you want to be sure that you experiment. Because there's a lot of different things that you can do that are just fun to change it up. Let's make sure we're even. And now we'll get our glue. And we're just going to keep repeating this process until they are all hinged together. And then we start to decorate. So hopefully everybody's doing well. The start of a new week. I am doing this video early, so this really is this. I'm doing this video on Friday, so I haven't gotten to the weekend. But I am supposed to go tomorrow to a concert up in Indio, California. So I will let you know how that turns out. Should be fun. It's John Hall from Hall & Oates. So it should be a really good concert. So this is going to lay like that. So far we are doing really well. It works both ways. So that's good. And now obviously we need another of the pink. So it's just repeat, repeat, repeat. So we just keep going. I used, I've been watching videos and I'm seeing like Gail and others say that they're having a hard time getting art glitter glue, which I don't understand. Art glitter glue is made, the company's in Cottonwood, Arizona, so I'm kind of like, why? Why would there be an issue getting art glitter glue? It's not like it comes from overseas. I mean, I would imagine that it's shipped out of Arizona, but maybe it isn't. Maybe the plant is overseas. I don't know. But I tried to use a different glue when I was gluing these pages here. And I could see that there's kind of some curling. And I don't want to mention it, but I used a very well-known brand of glue. And not happy with it at all. Not at all. You can see this was art glitter glue, how nicely that lays. And you can see this, how it's just kind of curled up. So glue does matter. If I were not covering these edges up with fabric, I think I would be a little upset, but it's not going to be an issue. But yeah, glue matters. I don't want to say anything because others may use the glue that I didn't care for and love it. And so that's all that matters. If you're happy with your glue, doesn't matter. But I think in the long run, it isn't going to matter here because we are hinging. So we're good. And yeah, but I know I won't be using that glue. So not for a project like this anyway. So I had to take my mom to 2 doctor's appointments this week. Busy, busy, busy. Okay, what comes next, guys? We did the Santas. We did that, so now we need the paper. We need that paper, and the back is Santa and ice skates. I know I ran out of one of them, so it is this right here. I know in the one book, this was the back. This was a different cardstock, and I didn't have any more, so I went to this, but this is not repeated, so that's a good thing. Because this is going to be a giveaway. And I have decided that I am going, for this giveaway, I am going to pick from my index card people. Most of you have been with me all year, and I don't want to do a random draw because I would rather, I don't want somebody that's come on once or twice. I want to stay with those of you that have stuck with me and supported my channel. And so I will be drawing from index card. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to contribute anything. It'll be a one-person draw. And you know me, I wish I had a book for everybody. But I am, you know, I've given out, well, there's 52 weeks in a year, so 52 index cards by the end of the year I will have given out. And I'm going to be doing die cuts next month too, because I know there'll be Christmas die cuts. They won't be just regular die cuts, but I might stay with that into next year. You know, the index cards, they take a lot of time. When I come on and I do them, share them, it seems so easy and so fast, and for the most part it is. But it takes a lot of supplies, and it does take time. I've got to think about it. Sometimes I've got to go out and purchase things, and I try not to have to do that. But you know, every so often, you got to do what you got to do. And next year, I may alternate index cards and die cuts. Because die cuts I can use, I've already got the dies, and I can use scraps. And so it costs me an envelope, and it costs me postage. So, yeah. I'd like to just continue to be able to do it, but I can do only what I can do. So, we are looking good, and hopefully if you're following along, you're having no issues. It's coming along. Now we need our last piece of pink. So yeah, I know that you all were so excited. Please, please continue the index cards. But I think for me, I just might mix it up a little bit. And I might do an index card and then a die cut, or I might do 2 die cuts and an index card. I will continue a weekly giveaway just because that is a lot of fun and y'all are loving it so much. So I will continue a weekly giveaway, but it may not be every single week. I will definitely finish this year out, but every single week may not be an index card. It's just going to depend on time. I've got plenty of index cards. They're already bought, and I've got lots of scraps. But when you get into a holiday, like say for example Valentine's Day, I don't want to use fall scraps. I don't want to use Christmas scraps. I want to use Valentine scraps. And if I don't have any, then chances are I'm probably going to go purchase paper. So that's what I mean when I say sometimes you just put a little bit more into it. And I'm okay. I've got plenty of supplies right now, so I'm not worried about it. And it's just fun. It is fun for me. And as long as it ends up being fun for you and continues to be fun for you, we're just going to keep doing it. So I think we've got one more page, and we're good. I like to be able to get this bone folder. I think this is probably about 1/8 of an inch wide, or thick, I should say thick. And I like being able to get that through there because that gives me a pretty decent spine. If you know that you are going to be putting maybe sewing journal pages in here, because I don't know why you couldn't. We have one more page to put on, and we go like this. I don't know why you could not open this up. You've got a spine here and sew journal pages in here. So if you know you're going to do that, then you want to make sure that you allow enough spine for that. Okay, so if I want, this is going to be folded like this because here's my front. If I want this to be designated the back, then it needs to go on this way. So our last strip, see if I can find a good one here. Boy, I took this right down. This was a fat quarter that I had, we'll use this one. This was a fat quarter, and I used the entire, between these two journals, this is all I have left. So we will do some paper clips. I don't think I did that in the other one. I think maybe I may have done 1 or 2 little paper clips. We'll see what we have in ephemera, because I know that some of the ephemera I put in the one that's in my shop, I don't have. And that's okay, because we've got other ephemera. Okay, guys, we are going to place our last page and then our last piece of fabric, and I am going to say this is part 1, and I will say goodbye until part 2. And if you have any questions about this part at all, please let me know before we start to decorate, because I know that there are at least 3 of you that are making journals with me. So I want you to get your answers. Sometimes I'm really slow on getting back to you in the comments. Just know that I've read your comments, and I will get to you as soon as I can. You aren't being ignored at all. You know me. I love to answer. Okay, so hopefully if you are doing 7, you have your strips, and you've got your accordion together. You're happy with what you've created, and you have something that looks very similar to, let's see, did I mess this up? Yeah, I did. I messed it up, because that does not go like that. See what I did? I messed it up. That's not the back. This is going to be the back. It doesn't matter, but somehow the way that I had laid this out, see how that happens? But like I said, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I thought that this was, it does, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. But hopefully, if you're following along, you have something that looks just like this, if you are using 7 pieces. So I am going to keep this like this, and I'm going to let this dry. And then I think what we will do next, we won't work on the cover, because this gets a lot of abuse opening and closing as I'm working on it. But and we will put pockets in first, and we'll worry about the icing on the top later. So what we'll do is we'll just follow along. So you're going to need a bag. Don't worry about the die cuts if you don't have die cuts. We will do the die cut part later, but you can do a collage piece. Like, for instance, you have no die cuts. Just go ahead and do something like a nice collage, maybe a tuck, maybe a cute piece of fabric here in a tuck that you're going to make, or a piece of cardstock that you're going to turn into a tuck. we'll have a pocket here. We need a bag. We will do an envelope. This is a piece of cardstock that I did put through the embossing machine. You don't have an embossing machine, don't worry about that. That's not a big deal because you have other ways that you can decorate it. We will be doing a belly band, but again, it's a die cut. Just cut a pretty piece of fabric or lace or cardstock. And then here we've got a tuck and we've got a pocket. So we will start putting those things in. I will, if they're die cuts, I will go ahead and get those taken care of off camera. And I will do multiples because I will be giving quite a few of those away next month. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this process. It really is fun. If it confused you in any way, just let me know in the comments if you need a little bit of extra instruction. But the cool thing about this is you've got a book that opens both sides. And so essentially you've got 14 pages, including the front cover and the back. And then you've got pockets so that if you want this to be any type of a writing journal, you can put all sorts of pages in there. So I am going to leave this like this for a while to dry and just wish everybody a very safe and happy day. And I will catch you in the second episode. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. Bye.